Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar video. This is going to be my next Avatar fan commentary track, and this one's going to be a little bit different. This one is going to be for Escape from the Spirit World, the webcomics that were initially actually a game on Nickelodeon, where if you played the game you unlocked each of these 4 sections to overall get the story Escape from the Spirit World, but were later released on the DVD and Blu-ray as a full, just complete webcomic separate from the game. So it is a full canon story, and that's what I'm going to be going over today. So the way this one is going to work is that in the description of this video I've linked a YouTube video that is an upload of Escape from the Spirit World. That's what I'm going to be going off. So the idea is open that video up in a new tab and have the audio from my video going while you're looking at the visuals from that video, because of course this doesn't feature any dialogue. It has music over it, but there's no actual dialogue. It's all done via text, hence it is a webcomic. So again, like usual, the way I'll do the setup for this is that I will have a pause after I finish my introduction, and when I start speaking again, that's when I'm going to hit play on the episode, the start of the video basically, Escape from the Spirit World, and that's when you should hit play as well. So that's what we're going to do just now in a second. So after the 10-second pause comes to an end, you hit play, I hit play, and we should be synced up. Okay, so here we are with Escape from the Spirit World. So this is a very, very interesting sequence of basically shorts here. We are set in between book 2 and book 3 as Aang is attempting to reconnect to the Avatar spirit in the aftermath of him basically being killed and then revived in Crossroads of Destiny. So this is all happening as Aang is unconscious. Basically, he's undergoing this spiritual reconnection, this journey in the spirit world, and he has to reconnect with his previous 4 past lives, one for each element, and that will reconnect him to the Avatar spirit, or Rava, and reestablish this connection. This is what sort of allows any of the physical recovery and even hope for the Avatar state to be a thing in book 3 to actually be the case. Hence why once Aang physically recovers, it's all about untrapping the energy, and he does that by hitting the rock, and this is a lot of the sort of important spiritual setup for that. So he gets to talk to Yue here, who sort of guides him along the first steps of the journey, and you'll see that some of this is sort of reminiscent of what we see in 301 The Awakening. They also create the idea that also Aang is going to forget all of this at the very end, but the results of what he accomplished here are valid. He does make a reconnection, and it is very important. He just forgets the experiences here, and I think they mainly did that to create more importance on him talking to the avatars again in the book 3 finale, of meeting Karuk there, meeting Yang Chen there, rather than just meeting them here. But for the audience, we learn stuff about those avatars, and it's very, very interesting. So here's Roku's story, and it's all about how the avatars make mistakes. Aang feels like he has made a great mistake in terms of losing at Ba Sing Se, but he's learning that Roku, Kyoshi, Karuk, they've all made mistakes. That's part of the point and the idea of the Avatar. Roku also struggled with learning the Avatar state. As much as Aang looks to him as a fully realized Avatar who mastered the elements, is way ahead of him, he had similar challenges with tackling the Avatar state. He couldn't get it just by default. We see there Fire Sage Kaja is Fire Sage Shayu's grandfather, as a fun fact. And here's his training. This is the Fire Nation approach. Trying to do it just sort of through classic meditation, but he's distracted, he can't do it. Highlighting a little bit of firebenders aren't the best at just focusing on the spiritual elements, but yeah. In retreat for 5 months, no closer to mastering it. A little bit of Korra there, that feels like kind of Korra style stuff, because Korra is more like a firebender in terms of her personality than a waterbender. So he tries to create a little bit of a shortcut here, like they did in Avatar State, trying all these methods to activate it. And in the end, they ended up activating the defense mechanism of Avatar State, and Aang went on a rampage, And here, through using spiritual means with the solstice, Roku does something very similar and also goes on a rampage. And Fire Sage Kaja here is going to have to get him out of this. We also learned that this is like Roku has twice destroyed this place. Once here, and then once again, sort of through Aang, he destroys this place. So that's just a fun fact. Roku destroys the exact same place twice. And yeah, Kaja, wise, spiritual, knows how to break this. If he went into it this way, we can get him out of it in the same way. And Roku does receive a punishment for, forcing it, rushing it like this. He's the one who has to rebuild the temple, which as the Avatar, I suppose, he is capable of doing. And so on. And yeah, you will master the Avatar state, as I finally did. So that's the confidence that Roku always has. And Roku guides him on to Kyoshi, near where Heibai is. So there's a lot of nice references here to Spirit World stuff we've seen before. Heibai helped Aang previously in 107, 108, as well as we met him there. And then again in the book 1 finale, we kind of met up with him again. So this is another nice reference once again. And then yeah, Heibai, do you know where Avatar Kyoshi is? Now again, it brings up the idea of does this just mean the past avatars are just in the spirit world by default or not? Ultimately, we don't really know. I lean on the direction of Rava facilitates the avatar spirits being here, since we know the spirit world isn't the place of the dead, basically, since we pretty much know this is also this thing that confirms Kyoshi's 230 years old. You can figure it out more or less from the year they mention in 104, but there they have to confirm it because they can't deny it because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But yeah, this is a really important little bit of backstory here. After the death of Chin the Conqueror, the peasants have an uprising and go after Ba Sing Se. And you can definitely connect the two together. I really like to do that. Part of the reason why Chin was able to take over most of the Earth Kingdom so effectively and easily is because the peasants utterly did not like the rule of this Earth King. And so they welcomed, in a way, a change. And Kyoshi took Chin down. He's the 46th Earth King. The fun facts are quite good in terms of the details. They welcomed the change, and so Kyoshi only took down Chin when he went after her home. That's an interesting point in terms of explaining her actions. You can see here she doesn't get on with the Earth King and is willing to fight him over this. She doesn't agree with his antics and tactics as a ruler and demands he make a compromise. I really like how it links together. She knows that it's not a good thing for just the people to have an uprising here and ruin the history of the nation or anything like that. But there needs to be a level of balance here. So Kyoshi handles this part really, really well. I will protect the history if you listen to what they have to say. And so this is the origin of the Dai Li. And this is a great connection of Kyoshi was the one who trained these earthbenders as this elite force. She created the Dai Li to help protect the culture of the city in response to what happened, to try and create a compromise. But they become this incredibly corrupt organization because of what happens in Ba Sing Se, which again speaks to the idea of she handled that relatively well, but didn't perhaps handle the main issue of rule behind the walls by the Earth King and not being effective leaders is the main problem ultimately. Our actions always have an effect, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, so nice wise wisdom here. And sometimes not for many lifetimes. The Dai Li ultimately having an effect on Aang's life, that's important. And then Aang's I don't even know his name, because he's met Kyoshi before, he's met Roku before. Here he finds out Avatar Kuruk is the name of the water avatar before him. So this is a really cool thing here, getting to meet Avatar Kuruk for the first time. And the whole setup here of Ko is the enemy in a way. I think he's who you face in the game to sort of allow all of this to happen. So that's a cool connection as well. And we'll learn through this story about what's going on with Ko. So he has a polar bear dog on his head, so that's kind of a little bit with Naga in mind. But obviously this was pre-Naga. But it just speaks that, polar bear dogs ultimately are wild animals, and it's kind of a rarity that Korra managed to, meet up with Naga, become friends with her when she was little, and be her, pet and animal guide. But yeah, here's the characterization of Karuk as being this kind of talented, skilled, arrogant, and brash kind of avatar. Seemingly, though, in a time of peace. Like, they don't say anything about anything particularly serious happening in the world here, which is why I can never overly criticize Karuk, because it doesn't really seem like, okay, he was arrogant. But, like, what is he specifically avoiding as the avatar? It may not be the best behavior of an avatar, but again, they never established that, like, he abandoned anything in doing this. Not settling down. We learned some extra stuff about him in Rise of Kyoshi, and I'm sure we'll learn more in Shadow of Kyoshi. And here we go. He met Umi during the New Moon celebration. So obviously they established he's from the Northern Water Tribe, which is why they specify she's from the south. And here we go. Love at first sight in a way. And yeah, he changes his ways after meeting her, so that's a really interesting story. Betrothal necklace, again, he's from the north, so it makes sense why he would give her that. And yeah, there's the proposal. They're going to get married. Things seem to be going well for Karuk. Married at the Spirit Oasis. We've seen this location before. Tragedy, though, at the wedding. So he didn't even get married. Like, that's the thing. That's what makes it all the more tragic. Umi fell into the spirit pond as if an unseen force pulled her in. And we see the koi fish there, Tui Law. She disappeared into the spirit world. She was dragged there by Ko to punish Karuk for his past mistakes. But on, like, what authority? Like, why does Ko do that? So every year on the anniversary of our wedding, I travel to the spirit world, but he wasn't unable to find her. So this is how he sort of died so young. He sort of, like, wasted away, in a way, the remainder of his life. That's the impression that we get as well from the Rise of Kyoshi, of, his companions feeling like they sort of were unable to help him during these sort of dark times. But great connection back to the kind of finale of book 1. We did see Umi's face, and so it gives Karuk, the spirit of Karuk, some hope that he can encounter Ko and somehow get some resolution on this. And I wonder, will they tackle this to a great deal in the Shadow of Kyoshi to establish what happened? What did he miss in the world that he wasn't assisted? What was he not involved in? They seem to mainly get across the idea that this allowed the sort of rise of the Dao Fei across the Earth Kingdom to happen. But I suppose that's mainly what they're getting at. But here's Yang Chen, the previous Airbender avatar, very interesting. Immediately asked, what did you learn from the others? That no avatar is perfect, they make mistakes, they struggled, because they're human. And yeah, that's the point of what you're learning here. And he asked the question, why is the avatar, human? Why aren't they just an all-powerful spirit? Would that not be better to help the world keep balance? And this is a great lesson, highlighting why it's important that the avatar is human and makes mistakes. You have to experience what others go through to be able to understand it yourself and know why you need to help them, know why it's important to keep balance and affect the world, stop these wars, these uprisings and stuff like that from happening. It's really kind of like profound in a way. I really like the wisdom from Yang Chen here. Understand how precious human life is and how you'll do anything to protect it. And this highlights, that this is the power of the avatars. We saw from Wan, the spirits don't have that level of sort of, in a way, compassion for others. They struggle with viewing humans in that way. So that's why it's significant that the avatar is a human with the power of a spirit, because they can be compassionate to humans and spirits while having the power to command some respect from the otherwise relatively arrogant spirits. And so here we get the resolution to all of this. Your physical body is still injured. You need time to heal. Key point. In the aftermath of this, the only thing that needs to be resolved is Aang's physical injury to his back and chi network. And we see there the glow is back. Rava is reconnected basically. But, it's kind of blocked for now because of the physical injuries. And here we go. When you wake up, you won't remember this. It'll be like a forgotten dream. A little bit interesting that they commit to that. But again, it creates a significance to the idea of Aang feeling like he's kind of going all the way back when he talks to Karuk and Yang Chen about stuff prior to Sozin's Comet. But yeah, just a quick thing, like all told, like what, 13 minutes of content there, but they cover very interesting ground on 4 avatars, 4 characters we really care about because they were previous avatars. 2 of them brand new in this with Karuk and Yang Chen. Karuk's one is fascinating with how they link it into like, oh, an avatar who was sort of careless, didn't get involved in things and was punished by the spirits for what he did. Like, what, explore that dynamic a little bit more. That's what's significant going into Shadow of Kyoshi. We really want to know what the situation is with that. So I really hope Shadow of Kyoshi focuses its plot on sort of what Karuk did in the past being something Kyoshi has to deal with potentially with Ko or whatever. At least its effect on the physical world, because we know it's some sort of a spirit world threat. But anyway, and then Yang Chen showing great wisdom from a previous air nomad avatar. You don't learn anything about a mistake she made necessarily, but you can basically add in the backstory we get on her from the Rift into this of, early after, mastering the elements, she has to handle the general old iron situation, and while she creates a solution, she perhaps creates a solution that was maybe hard to maintain over generations upon generations, that maybe not enough people knew about it. Maybe it wasn't the best thing to compromise so hard with a spirit, and she feels that was a mistake. So that was really good in the Rift to get that extra information on Yang Chen, to find out that she wasn't just this perfect avatar. She also, considers mistakes from her past as well. But yeah, really great stuff with the little facts throughout it of just like, this is the 46th Earth King back here. They specifically mentioned like the year to the exact year that like when Roku was doing this avatar state training. That was really nice to know. They specify, yes, it is a fact. It's not just a mistake with the dates that Kyoshi lived to be 230 years old. That's all really, really good stuff in terms of like the detail and quality of the writing in this, even though it was just this extra webcomic like thing that a lot of people even to this day don't really know about or aren't really familiar with. But it covers an important piece of information here. Like, this is sort of like the opposite of, say, Going Home Again from the Lost Adventures. That is a comic in the Lost Adventures that covers basically Zuko during this point in time. This is the return of Jin. It's like Jin getting to meet Mei. It's Mei and Zuko's sort of reunion. Again, it's that sort of early setup for early book 3 stuff in a comic, or in a web comic in this case. So, really, really good stuff. Yeah, the next commentary is going to be the sort of Korra equivalent of this, which is Republic City Hustle. So be on the lookout for that one coming next. But in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on Escape from the Spirit World. How much do you like it? Do you like it as much as I do? But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.